Goes back a long way, and he is just an awesome man of God. And so, with great joy, let's give him an anchor welcome. Brady, thank you.
You can't believe how fun it is for me to be able to do this kind of work in the kingdom. Most, like 99% of what I do is out in the marketplace. And so when I get to be inside the kingdom and doing something in a church setting, for some reason the material really resonates with people. I think we see how it applies inside a church setting. And it's fun to be able to just see it have fruitfulness inside the lives of people, because I'm very, very clear. You know, James 1, that whole thing, if any man lacks wisdom, let him ask of God. This has been my life journey. The pursuit of God's wisdom. And what I have seen is that God has, over the years, given me things that when I put them in front of people in the workplace, they instantly resonate. And I always feel a little bit like the wedding at Cana, right? It's like, we don't know where this came from. We just know it's good. And I am very, very thankful that God has me where I am. But like I say, it is a heyday to be able to do this inside the church. Uh, so anybody, what was your key insight from my session yesterday? Yes. Listen. And how did that come to you? Why did that get highlighted for you?
Well, I realized I tend to listen and then respond with something that would relate instead of just listen and respond with something that would energize that person.
Beautiful. So I think you might enjoy the conversation book, and that'll help you. Okay? Somebody else. So now you know what the game, right? Make something up quickly. So somebody else. Yes, what landed for you?
I loved how you paralleled what you were saying with what happened in your Boston Marathon.
Right.
And just how we need to encourage one another and spur one another on. And that is what gives us the impetus to be able to show that.
People on, right? We often feel like we are the runners. But I think the real game is, can we be on the sidelines and say, Boston loves you right back, Brady, right? And somebody's energy surges. So if you weren't here yesterday, we talked a little bit about driving needs. We said that they're so pressing and vital and urgent that they feel like the very air that we breathe. Now, we have decided in our organization not to talk about preferences, but to talk about needs. So oxygen is clearly not a preference, it's need. Many of you have been through assessments like True Colors or Myers-Briggs or DISC. Fantastic tools. And they help you understand what your preferences are. Are you energized by being with people? Are you energized by being by yourself? That's a preference. And so the ability to understand another person's preferences and to flex your style is respectful, and it's very effective. But we're not talking about preferences here. We're talking about God-given wiring. God has designed us and created us with needs. And those needs often conflict with the needs of other people. So if you have a profound need for freedom, such as I, and you get married to a woman like my wife, Teresa, who has a profound need for security, I don't have to spell this out for you. And so we have had an unbelievable journey, 36 years, and honestly, yeah. I could. I've been happily married for 36 years. Teresa's been happily married for about 20. It took me a while to catch on to some things. But for the last, 15 or 20 years, we have had the time of our life. And this material has been unbelievably helpful. So we talked about those needs yesterday. I'm not going to belabor this, but for those, how many weren't here yesterday? Yeah, so let's just talk about this for a second. We have these driving needs. Interestingly, science always, sooner or later, corroborates what we've known all along from Scripture. And there are 9 substantive pieces of research out there right now that show that belonging in close social relationships is a greater predictor of your physical health than whether you smoke, the quality of your diet, and how much you exercise. Now, those are big predictors to your physical health. But if you take someone who has all those things working for them, good exercise, good diet, they don't smoke, and they become isolated, alienated, lonely, all the markers start to go downhill. There's a reason why the worst punishment that you can throw at a prisoner is belonging is not a preference. It is a driving need. Security, that sense of consistency, predictability, structures and systems, rules and fair play, not a preference. It's a driving need. And our brain has been wired so that if these needs are not met, we get triggered, and what happens is cortisol is released, and we start to lose access to our prefrontal cortex. And we go binary. Binary is either or. Now or never, all or nothing. You're either with me or you're against me. And we start making really dumb social mistakes. We're talking about sending people out into their workplace with the energy to be able to be appropriate in the moment. Not to be weird and corny. But just to be a genuine, authentic human being. I was in a session 2 days ago, and it was HR professionals from across the country. The woman who organized it, sharp as a tack. I looked at her and I went, wow, something's going on there. I went over and said, are you okay? She said, I buried my dad yesterday. And I took her in my arms, and I just held her for the longest time. I said, I know. I know. And later on in the day I met her and I said, my I know was not a hollow I know. I buried my mom last September. Same age as your dad, 92, right? But we just need to be able to be genuine, authentic human beings, not weird, right? And I told her I would pray for her. That was it. All right. So freedom, significance, meaning. The issue is that there are people in your congregation for whom meaning, understanding the why, contribution, legacy, the greater good, it is what propels and motivates and energizes them. But there's a person who sits right beside them, and it's one of the other ones. So today I'm going to take you into an experience called Oxygen Poker. Sorry about the poker, but I think you'll enjoy it anyway. And what you're going to experience is a very quick way of understanding what matters most and what it is that energizes somebody else. So I'm going to ask you to get into groups of 3, so triads. Your spouse can't be in the group. All right? And what you're going to do is cast your eye over the room here and look for a couple people that you would like to work with and play this game with. As soon as you are in your group of 3, and depending on how the math works in this room, we might end up with one group of 4. That's okay. But 3s, then what you're going to do is you're going to come up and grab a deck of cards, for one deck for each group of 3, and then I'll give you your next instructions. Okay? Go. Okay, welcome back. Here's the deal. One of you is going to give the deck a quick shuffle. Then you're going to deal 5 cards to each person with the colored side up so everybody can see everybody else's cards. It's an open hand here. 5, you can alternate it. They should end up with different colors probably. Colored side up. Okay, as soon as you've got your 5 cards, I am now going to ask you to rank order them from right to left. On the right side, those things that matter most to you, and I'm going to say at work, at church, in your ministry. We're not talking about at home right now, but as it relates to you as a Christian leader, a pastor leading the church, what are the 5 things that are most energizing and most important to you? Okay? So we're looking at, on the right-hand side, that which is most important. On the left-hand side, you go, I could take that or leave it. Okay? Go for it. Right-hand side is most important. Left-hand side is least important. Again, in your professional world as a clergyman, clergywoman. No, what it actually is. Okay, now what's going to happen is this. There may be some cards on the left-hand side, as I said, that you wouldn't mind getting rid of. But it's possible that they are very attractive to somebody in your triad. So we're going to trade cards with each other. Your mission, get the sweetest hand possible. 5 cards that really matter to you. Let's go. What's that? Do you have a double?
Can we have doubles?
If you could have doubles, yeah, very, very easily. You shouldn't have a double in your hand if you. Oh, okay. If you have 2 of the same, you can get another one from the deck. Yeah. Okay, if I can grab your attention for a moment. Some of you are still feeling a little unfulfilled. You've been trying to get rid of a certain card, and people are having none of it. Yeah? Okay. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to open up the team trading floor, stand up, and go to anybody in the room and try to find the cards you're looking for. Let's go.
trying to have more than one the same. Like, I just feel like these are really strong for me, so I
Yeah.
thought I was going for trying to get more of the same.
I would probably expand the deck a little bit more. I mean, I can see those are clearly important for you. You could totally do that if those are the two.
I actually got rid of other ones to get more of the
Yeah.
same.
Yeah, no, if those are the two really that are standing out for you, that's perfectly fine. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to grab your attention. I'll just grab your attention for a second. I can't do that, yeah. Okay, if I can grab your attention, some of you are still a little bit unfulfilled. Just for Anchor Ministerial, just for today, we're going to give you a chance to go shopping. So go to the rest of the deck, fan it out somewhere, and go shopping for the cards you're looking for. We can put... And there's more cards up here too.
How many are we allowed to change? One?
Well, you're going to end up with 5.
Okay. Team Harmony.
But you still keep a 5?
5 is the total, yeah. Keep track of when I started. Do you remember what time it was?
No, let me tell you when
Was it 10:15?
Yes, it was.
So,
very close
so
to
if I end at 11 and...
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, you have 30 seconds. 30 seconds to make your final trades. That's me. That's me. Okay, you should have your 5 cards. Those things that are most important, that are most energizing for you as a pastor, as a Christian leader. Okay, if you could take a seat then. Now, you're bright people. You probably already know that the colors mean something. You probably already know what they mean, but let's figure it out together just for a moment, okay? So, is there anybody who's got 3 or more of one color? Okay, so I'm going to go to you for a second. Give us the color and then read them out really loud.
Purple, purposeful living, understanding the why, and justice.
Beautiful. If you had to give your wildest guess as to which of the 5 driving needs we're talking about here, what would you say? We're talking about meaning. It is clearly an energizer for you, right? Okay, somebody else who's got 3. Yes. Okay, now I wanted to hear from a different color. Yes. Blue.
Close relationships, team harmony, and quality connection.
Wildest guess. Somebody, a different color. Yes, back here. Yes.
Clarity of focus,
Yeah.
systems and structures, fair treatment.
Beautiful. What do you think we're talking about? We are talking about security. Okay, somebody who's got, yes. Beautiful.
Reputation and legacy, valued and respected, challenge and fun.
Beautiful. And Significance. And finally, that leaves our yellow. Who's got a mitt full of yellow? Yes.
Working in my sweet spot, thrive on change, adventure and risk, autonomy and independence.
4 yellows. Okay. Freedom. Yeah, that is the Mel Gibson moment right there. Okay. So that's what we're looking at. Blue, belonging. Green, security. Now, the last thing I would want you to do is to pigeonhole each other. Say, oh yeah, that's a yellow person, right? Because these needs can change in a heartbeat. I was working with this very high-level director, and she said, I had my part of the business. It was like humming like a top. And then there was a reorg, and I inherited a very troubled division in the organization. And she said, my needs changed from one day to the next. At one point, so that her team humming at the top, her needs were significant in meaning. What do you think they changed to the very next day? Security and belonging. They can change. That's again a little bit different from the preferences. Okay, so what we're going to do now, let me ask you, what do you think energized my marathon? Those of you who heard the story yesterday. Yes, but what were the two, if you had to pick two of these? Significance and meaning, a sense of, I want to show my solidarity to the victims. And so the meaning of what I was doing and the sense of significance that a woman would look me in the eyes and go, we love you too, Canada. Like, thanks for coming down here. Like, I mean something to you. I'm significant to you. Huge, hugely energizing. Okay, so in this next 5 minutes, you're going to turn to your two partners and you're going to ask this question. Sorry. Oh, I think we lost some text here. This is going to be too bad. Okay, so let me give it to you verbally. We had some troubles with I don't need to go into that. Okay, here's the thing. You're going to turn to your partner and say, what's your deal breaker card? What do I mean by that? Here's what I mean by that. Well, first of all, let's do this. Could I have some helpers give out these cards? These are, yeah, and I'm going to need a few of you so we can get them really, really quick. Give me one of them just so I can refer to it. Thank you very much. If you are about to go into a really important conversation and you wanted to understand what is it that matters most to this other person, the front side of this with all the colors will give you some cues. But for our purposes today, we're going to go to the back where it says, what matters most? You are going to write down the 5 cards that you chose today where it says what matters most. If you don't have a pen with you, you could take a picture of the hand that you chose. But I want you to have a record. June the 3rd, 2017, this is what you said mattered most to you. Yes, right on the back of this one, the 5 cards that you chose. If you were doing this with the senior leadership team of your church, you would collect all of these so that everybody knew what mattered most to every other person. It is powerful when you have meetings and people understand what matters most to the other people in the room. I'm going to see if I can just, we're going to do this. So you write your 5 cards out. As soon as you've got your 5 cards, I'm now going to ask you to put a star beside your deal breaker card. Let me give you context for what deal breaker card is. When I do oxygen poker, I end up with 3 yellow cards. Freedom is clearly important for me. If I feel manipulated, controlled, micromanaged, trapped in a relationship, I'm telling you, the worst possible stuff starts coming out of me. I've had people in my sessions who say, this autonomy and independence card, the yellow one, is so important to me that if I feel micromanaged, I'll go to my boss and I'll have that tough conversation. If I can't address it the first time, I'll go back a second time. I'll go back a third time. But ultimately, if I cannot address that need, I will leave the organization. It's my deal breaker card. So put a star beside the one of the 5 that is your deal breaker card. Because it's like oxygen to you, you will start to act out. So now you've got your star beside your deal breaker card. I'm going to ask you to turn to the 2 people that you're working with, and you're going to have this conversation. Hey guys, what's your deal breaker card? What's your biggest fear as it relates to this card? And finally, and here's the real goal of this, how might you act out if that card was threatened? Let me give you context for act out. I was working with a big organization, Christian organization down in the States, leadership team. One of the people chose quality connections. So I said, so how do you act out when that's jeopardized? And the guy says, well, if I can't get the quality connection with a person and I feel that the door's shut, I'll go and have a conversation. I'll try to sort that out. I said, that's not you acting out. He said, well, if I can't solve it myself, I'll get a third party involved. I said, that's not you acting out. How do you act out? He said, I go on the attack. That's acting out. Okay, so in these triads, we're not asking you to pat yourself in the back. We're saying, this feels like oxygen to me. It's my deal breaker card. When it feels threatened, I actually start to act out, and here's how. Okay? It's a rich conversation. Let's go into this right now. take 30 more seconds. 30 more seconds. Ten seconds to wrap it up. Okay, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Can I get you back? Hard conversations to come back from. Okay. Help me out very quickly. I need somebody who will say, this is my deal breaker card, and we'll skip right to number 3, and here's how I act out when it feels jeopardized. Who is it? Help me out. Yes.
Okay, my deal breaker is probably autonomy and independence. So if I had someone saying, you've got to do this, and I didn't have any time, what I would do to act out, I think, would be I would go over and above. I would do what they said, but I would do even more in order to say, like, see this? Like, here, I would push back and actually try to show them that they were wrong.
So it could be a little bit of over-trying.
Yeah.
Now, I'm putting words in your mouth, so I'm just finding out if that... You're over-delivering.
Over-delivering in order to reveal that, that they were actually wrong to try to compartmentalize me or keep me in a box.
Okay, so I'll prove to you.
Yeah.
Acting out. Somebody else. Yes, back here.
Valued and respected.
Yes.
I need to be valued, I need to be respected, and I expect that for everybody around me also.
Yes, how do you act out?
I voice my opinion strongly.
I got it.
You know, the whole laying out of hands and
Okay. So I'm not saying this would apply to you, but for some people like that, they can taste their need to be right. The volume comes up, I start to interrupt other people, I talk over other people, and I start to disassemble their logic, right? Because I need to be valued and respected. I'm not saying any of that applies to you. Somebody else. Yes, back here, nice and loud. Yeah.
Or connections rather, and if I cannot connect with the people that I'm supposed to be with, I will just withdraw, and that's my reaction to it is I withdraw totally.
Okay. So here we're starting to see how engagement and energy start to work together. If our needs are not met, I retract, I start to withdraw, I check out. And engagement is being affected because your energy is going down, because your needs are not getting met. Yeah? Okay, so really quickly here. And okay. Here's your mission. I'm going to give you 5 clusters of behaviors that you can see in the church. My question to you is, what do they all have in common? First cluster, somebody who is cliquey, exclusive, creates relationships that nobody else can get into, complains, gossips. Second cluster, somebody who micromanages, shifts the blame, points fingers. It's the person who in that meeting asks question after question after question, long after everybody else has got it. Third one, somebody who bends the rules, maverick, unreliable, takes unwise risk, goes rogue. Fourth cluster, somebody who takes credit for other people's contribution. Very critical, could be, always has to be right. Could be very posturing, political, brown-nosing. And finally, this one checks out, cynical, dark, sarcastic humor. What do these behaviors all have in common?
They're all in my church.
That's good. Well, this has just turned into a prayer time. Yes.
We all represent our men needs.
Okay, Jim is helping us out here. Each one of these can be an unskillful expression of an unmet need. Watch this for a second, and then we'll wrap it up. This person who's cliquey, exclusive, they have a valid human need for belonging. Often in our gossiping, in our complaining, it's a bid for connection and rapport. This person here is not Thank you so much. This person here is not micromanaging because he's so buttoned down and organized. He's micromanaging because he has a valid human need for security. It's being expressed in an unskillful way. It's like oxygen. We have to get that need met. We will either do it skillfully or unskillfully. This person here has a valid need for, you know what it is, freedom. It's being expressed unskillfully. This person who takes credit, one-upmanship, they have a valid human need for, exactly. This person sees the mission statement on the wall of your church, and when people don't walk the talk, they go sideways. They've got this beautiful ideology because meaning is so important to them. When it's not met, they become checked out and jaded. If this is true, then we can start to look at behavior inside the church and go, yeah, certainly there are some things that are sin. There's no question about that. There are other things where we've got human beings who are bumping along just trying to get their need met, and nobody has taught them how to do it skillfully. If I have a profound need for that red card, significance, and I need to feel recognized and appreciated for my contribution, I need to feel affirmed, it's going to be very difficult for me to go to my boss and say, I need more affirmation. Yes, but I can go to my boss and say, I need to know when I'm doing a good job. And I need to know if I'm not doing a good job. Could we have that kind of relationship? That's a way to skillfully get your needs met. What we want to do is to create the type of ecosystem in our churches where people can actually declare what they need. We've been socialized to not talk about our needs. And there's all sorts of reasons for that. We don't want to appear selfish, narcissistic, broken, needy, incompetent. And so we will go around it in 15 different ways and send out the innuendos, but we never just say, I need this. I'm trying to change the workplace so that people can actually come to the table and say, this is what I need from the rest of you around this table. I wish I had more time with you. I'm so thankful for the way you folks stepped into this. And thank you for having Juice with you today. Oh.